This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, good. So in our last class, just we have seen like how like what was the cause, what was the reason, like what was the motivation due to which Hana came into the picture. And when Hana came into the picture, the way of coding style got also have a lot got impacted in form of new syntax, in form of new OpenSQL, right? The data model, currently there are a lot of focus on CDS data model. In fact, this is the heart of the database. This is the center of the our HANA modeling. So based upon CDS, we are going to develop, and in the coming classes, we are going to see the VDM also, like the virtual data model technique, different types of virtual model we are going to see over there, right? So all these things we saw, like what is the motivation behind this, okay? And then we saw that in R3 tier architecture, we are having presentation server, application server, and database server. And in the current scenario, this presentation server got evolved and converted into Fury, though still the conventional GUI is there, but the Fury is coming into more demand. And in S4 HANA, if you see into the S4 HANA system, there you are having the Fury screen as well, in order to replace in order to replacement of the conventional GUI screen. Okay, so the Fury got evolved. Application server is now, you can see the 7.50 plus we are having right now. Okay, from 7.40, so NetWeaver 7.40 onwards, lot of improvement, lot of changes uh, came across the picture. Okay, and in terms of database, we got our database HANA, which is a hybrid database, which is having a lot of functionality, which is having a lot of functionality. A lot of functionality means really a lot of, like in terms of software also it got in software also it got a lot of improvement, like in terms of column store and row store. And then after, in terms of hardware also, you got a lot of improvement. Not only that, like if you take the some big database example like Hadoop or MongoDB, somehow SAP is also trying to capture the capacity of this large database, which is a kind of a document store database, where you can store large amount of document, large amount of data. So that part also SAP is trying to expose. So in the same database, right, in the same database, you are going to take the advantage of OLTP, you are going to take the advantage of OLAP and big data as well. Okay, so as of now, OLTP and OLAP is frequently it's massively used over here as in form of HANA database, right? We are using for our transactional purpose also, and for BI BW purpose. So when I tell BI or BW purpose, that means for analytical purpose. Okay, we saw that how like the working mechanism is there. Everything is being done by the CPU. CPU takes the data from the RAM is going to take the data from the hard disk. So in order to remove this latency, to get the data from the hard disk, we are just going to get the data directly from the RAM, and that's why a RAM is installed there over in the HANA database, installed in RAM directly. And to cut off the power usage and all, like because it's a RAM, so when the power goes, it will, it's a volatile memory. So for that purpose, in backup, SAP has taken the help of MaxDB. So on each time, at each time point, it's going to take backup in the max db. Okay, so that is called the persistent storage. In case of power failure and all, that mechanism has been applied. Okay, fine. So now also we saw that what is the advantage of row storage. We saw how the data is going to store in the row format, in the column format, right? And I think in one Excel I have created, I don't know where, I think I missed to paste over there. No issue, I will again create and paste it over there. Fine. So here, like we saw how the row storage is going to store in the hard disk and column storage is going to store in the hard disk, and why it is so suitable for the aggregation. This part we saw. Again, we saw that from 7.31 onwards, SAP BW on HANA directly started using HANA as a direct database server, right, from 7.3 onwards. Earlier it was getting used as a sidecar scenario. Okay, now we saw when HANA came into the picture, because it's having massive parallel processing capacity. So in order to leverage the power of HANA, we are having the the coding, like maximum we have to push our code here at the HANA database to get execute, and that technique is known as code to data paradigm. Earlier we were having maximum coding at application server layer. Now we are having the maximum coding at the HANA database layer. That's why it is known as code to data paradigm. This is also known as code push down. You can see this wider is showing as that the maximum operation, maximum coding we are going to do at the HANA database layer in form of, right, in form of CDS, in form of AMDP, in form of information model, right, in form of new OpenSQL. So these are the different technique with the help of which we are going to achieve the code push down technique. Okay, VDM also maybe you can write, though it is on top of CDS, you can include this also. Okay, so these are the different way through which we are going to achieve the code push down mechanism. Okay, fine. So now you might be thinking that there are so many, which one should be given the priority and when, right? So that part we will discuss in our today's class. There are so many code push down technique, but which one we have to give the more preference, that we will see. Okay, so we saw also, like when HANA came as a direct database and our earlier ECC was earlier the same. So that particular scenario was known as business suite on HANA. And when this SEC got converted into S4 HANA, like means everything got optimized based upon the HANA database. Okay, based upon the HANA database. Fine. Also, we saw like in S4 HANA, you are having so many changes, right? In stops this much table, we are having only mat doc table, and here instead of uh, here also from this is an example of finance. In finance, BSEC, BCAP, BSET, and BCs, and there are so many other tables also got replaced with the same single table called AC doka. Okay, so data model also got changed in case of S4 HANA. We saw some interesting thing like HANA, the full form of HANA. Then HANA was developed in C++, and the OS initially it got installed only the SUSE Linux server. Now it is supported by the Red Hat Linux server as well, right? Also saw like what is the cloud-based service, and what is the difference between S4 HANA premise and S4 HANA on cloud. Okay, we also saw what is the attribute, different attribute, what is the different property due to which HANA is so powerful. Okay, let's go ahead, and in today's class we will see, first I will show you that we are having many code push down technique, right? So code push down, uh, okay, so we are having many code push down technique. Code push down technique. So as I have shown you, the very first one, we are going to take care of the OpenSQL. If our work is going to be done by the help of OpenSQL itself, we are going to use the OpenSQL, because nowadays OpenSQL is so powerful because it has been enhanced in such a way that maximum of the code push down you can achieve with the help of OpenSQL itself. Okay, So from NetWeaver 7.40, a lot of changes happen, and due to this no new this OpenSQL has been lot power, and you can do anything. The second is, we are having CDS. If you are not able to do with the help of OpenSQL, you can try to do the same thing with the help of CDS. And sometimes, or even most of the time, you are going to use the CDS in place of OpenSQL. The reason behind reusability. The CDS artifact can be reused in a Fury application. It can be reused in a Tableau application, BIBW reporting tool. So one application you can use in your local report as well, like in your SAP ABAP program. Also, the CDS artifact you can use. Okay, and the same CDS can be used for Fury based application as well. So that's why CDS is now more demanding. That's why the CDS is now more demanding. In CDS, you can, there is a concept called table function. With the help of table function, you can call the AMDP as well. So the third priority goes to the AMDP. Actually, AMDP is having a lot of, capacity of writing the logic and all, because AMDP is completely based upon the SQL script. SQL script is the language of database, HANA database. So SQL script we are going to learn in detail in our coming classes. Okay, so in order to learn the AMDP SQL, we must have a good understanding, good learning of SQL script. Okay, so SQL script, here you can write any kind of logic. Okay, so if your work is not going to get achieved with the help of CDS, also you can go for the AMDP. So these are the most demanding technique nowadays. After that, whatever I'm going to write over here, either it has been obsolete or it is not recommended. So the fourth one, you can go for the information model. Okay, it's not in very much demand right now. Initially when HANA was developed, at that time it was in very much demand because of its graphical editor ability, graphical tool development ability it is having. So information model can be developed with the help of graphical tool as well. Okay, so and that's why it took a lot of popularity in beginning, but it is having a lot of limitation, like you cannot put a lot of logic, you cannot do a lot of business logic, it's not flexible in fact. So it's a graphical, you know graphical based model. So like it's easy to develop, but it is having limited functionality. That's why after 2015 gradually it became, very less popular, and nowadays SAP also is not taking care of development more on this particular information model. Okay, another we are having the native SQL, right? Another we are having the native SQL. So native SQL is also one way to push the code down at the database layer directly, but it is having also a lot of, uh, limitation. In fact, lot of limitation we are having for native SQL. SAP is not so much comfortable with the native SQL. It cannot do so much manipulation with the native SQL. That's why native SQL is not uh, in that much. That's why it didn't get that much popularity. But suppose if some table is not there at the application layer, like we are having application layer, correct? So here some table is not there in application layer. When I tell in application layer, that means at SCI level layer, and that table is directly at the database layer. Suppose if that table is there, for example, your database is let us suppose we are having the Oracle database. Okay, and some system table related with Oracle is there directly installed in the database layer, and that table you want to access at the application server layer. So in that case, you don't have any choice. You will have to go to native SQL. With the help of native SQL, you can access directly that data. So all these are the different techniques we are having. One very important technique, maybe at the fourth point, I can write it: ADBC, ABAP database connectivity. ABAP database connectivity. So it is, it is also actually this ADBC came into picture like mainly for the sidecar scenario. Here you can see when HANA initially was developed, at that time when HANA used not to be a main database, it used not to be a primary database. So to leverage the power of HANA here, ADBC used to be ABAP database connectivity. This database used to get connected with the ABAP layer, that means application server layer, and from here we used to get the table data directly at application server layer, though it is not our main database. HANA database is not our main database, but still with the help of ADBC we can get. So that also we will see in our coming days. Okay. So this is the priority, like in the priority itself I have written it over here, like first preference every time is going to have the open SQL, then CDS maybe sometimes it is going to be it's going to take more priority over the open SQL whenever you will have to use that particular artifact at many places. Okay, so the CDS can be at top in that case, then you will have to use the open SQL, because CDS, you can use anywhere. AMDP, very, it's a popular but not as OpenSQL and CDS. Okay, so very rarely you suppose if you are going to give the 100% out of all these things, so maybe what you can do, the 40% popularity you can give for this OpenSQL. Okay, then again maybe 55% you can give. In some cases it's really very helpful, the CDS. Okay, AMDP 5%. Okay, like that maybe, and in 1% nowadays other you can keep it. Okay, so AMDP maybe you can put something like 4%. Okay, and another, all these three you can put under the 1%. Okay, so these are so much in demanding. Okay, let's go ahead and we will see how the evolution of HANA taken place, because it is important to understand such stuff in order to have the proper understanding. Okay, so the very first time it was released, the 1.0 SPS 0, that was known as the beta release. So let me uh, insert a table, and form of table maybe I will write it over there so it will be better. Okay, and I will just right click over here and I will insert some more rows. Okay, so we'll be having quickly a look on this. So here we are just going to write the release, and here in that release, what was the major changes? There are a lot of changes in fact in every release, but we are just going to see the major changes over there. Okay, so release 1.0 SPS 0 was our beta release. So if you see any software, very first time it comes in form of beta release. Okay, because no organization would like to take the risk. Okay, no organization would like to take the risk. So in form of beta release, only at those particular business functionality such kind of software get used, where it is very less, where we are having very less chance of, very less chance of some discrepancy, or very less chance of having some business loss. So in that kind of scenario, this beta release SAP used to give free, and organization started using this beta release. So it was a free version. Okay, and where less business functionality is going to impact, like, or almost none, because no one would like to take the risk, particularly business. Okay, so less business loss or almost none. So once they started realizing the power, or whatever they found the big problem, they fixed in the very, so this is actually release 1 SPS 0. Okay, SPS 0, and this is your release 1.0 SPS 0 beta release. Okay, then SPS 1 came, the first, very, the first available database to like the paid database. The first one was free. The very official database by SAP was released as the first SPS 01, and this was general. This also like generally it is available for all the business, and it was a paid version. Okay, the first paid version. Okay, the first paid license. Then SPS 02, SPS 02, like yeah, after SPS 02, the HANA can be used as a secondary database. Okay, in sidecar scenario. Okay, so HANA can be used like for ABAP server. HANA can be used in the sidecar scenario using ADBC. Sidecar scenario using ADBC. Okay, so this was the SPS 02. Then SPS 03. In SPS 03, you can be like NetWeaver 7.0. If your NetWeaver version is 7.3 or 1 is there, BW on HANA got introduced. BW on HANA got introduced with SPS 03. Okay, now SPS, and this is also known as, this also called BW powered by HANA. This is both term powered by, now both term is same. And gradually that CRM powered by HANA, SRM powered by HANA came into the picture. Then SPS 4, in SPS 4 you are having, uh, the flat file data provisioning. The flat file data provisioning means like if we are going to migrate the data from legacy system to HANA database system in form of text file, you can get the data and you can upload into the HANA database. Okay, then SPS 05, it started supporting DXC. It started supporting DXC. Its meaning means direct extractor connection. Direct extractor. So it is also a data provisioning tool. Direct extractor connection. So it is also a data provisioning tool. It used to help the data to migrate the data from legacy system to uh, HANA system. Okay, then SPS 06 was the major release by the SAP. After that, the your HANA was directly started getting used like that means for ECC on HANA, or you may tell business suite on HANA got introduced. Business suite on HANA. So your 731, NetWeaver 731 and SPS 03, the BW on HANA came into the picture, but our application server, like our ECC server on which BAPA do the coding and all, for the transactional purpose, for the maintaining SD, MMPP, all this such kind of stuff. For that purpose, ECC on HANA, that means business suite on HANA came into this SPS 06. This was a very major release, and after that the scenario got a lot changed. Okay, and then SPS 07, again the concept called smart data access. So maybe SDA, smart data access, came into the picture. So this is again like the different way of accessing the data, right? A smart data access. And then after AMDP, like it started supporting the AMDT, SPS 07 started supporting the ABAP managed data procedure. Okay, then the job scheduling also, like you can schedule the job inside the like in HANA database. It started supporting the job scheduling as well. So such kind of improvement in SPS 07 it was. Then SPS 08, right? This started like that initially when HANA was introduced, only one server it was started supporting, right? SUSE Linux. It used to get installed on SUSE Linux, but SPS 08 onwards, it started supporting SUSE Linux as well as SUSE Linux. Already it was supporting. It also started supporting Red Hat Linux. So this is some important stuff as a ABAP on HANA developer we should know. SPS 09 support like this, support pack stack 09. At this point of time, multi-tenant DB container, like in one HANA database you can install the multiple instances of HANA database over there. So multi-tenant uh, DB containers got introduced. DB containers got, or maybe you can write like this, multi-tenant DB containers got introduced. So, and then SPS 10, SPS 10 again, like earlier, like up to SPS 09, some problem, like like suppose your HANA got corrupted, how you are going to recover that one? Though these were also having the functionality, but it was not having that much good functionality. So very good functionality came into the picture. One is high availability. High availability means server, HANA server is highly available. It used to be very less down. High availability. And another was disaster recovery option. So many disaster recovery option was introduced. Okay, recovery option. And then from SPS 10, like it introduced like native access and advanced access, right? All the HANA server, if you take the example of suppose this is your server, okay, this is your HANA server. So in this HANA server itself, we are having one a small application server installed over here, okay, nowadays. So this application server got installed in this particular release, SPS 11. Okay, so HANA application server, like HANA access, this is also known as HANA access. HANA access means HANA access also stands for extended server. Some people also tells it extra small, but in fact it is a application server, inbuilt application server inside the HANA. Okay, so if you are having application server, you can do the coding over there. You can get the report, everything. It can be done with the help of this application server. It's an inbuilt application server inside the HANA. Then SPS 12, we are having the workload analysis tool, like how much, suppose in distributed scenario, like in one HANA there can be multiple instances of HANA. So if you are going to have the multiple instances, how the one instance is having the more workload, and if suppose another instance is going to have the small workload, so you are going to distribute the workload between the multiple instances. So this workload analysis and distribution got introduced over here. Okay, analysis and distribution. And then this, under this release one, after this complete release, like after uh, support pack stack 12, the SAP released version 2. Okay, after this was the final release, this was the final patch for this release one. After this they released the second version of the so they released release 2.0. And in this release, in SPS 0, again SPS 0, we can start from SPS 0. And here it was very good from the security point of view. So enhanced security, maybe you can write. So after that, in each release they have taken care of mostly security. So enhanced security, because security is very big concern in the ERP world, right? And again you are having the third party tool like MDC. Okay, uh, multi data connector, I think, I don't remember its full form exactly, but there is a tool called MDC which is connected with this HANA database. Okay, and then SPS 01, it got introduced the the doc server, very very important doc server. So doc server is nothing but it is similar to for example, in form of JSON format, the data is going to be stored in the HANA database as well. So you can compare something similar like MongoDB or Hadoop DB, where data is going to stored in the text format, in the JSON format. So this document server is something like to support the big data kind of stuff. So big kind of file, big kind of stuff you can store with the help of document server on the HANA. Okay, so document server, it got introduced. Okay, and then we are having some another. So the current version is actually SPS 04. Okay, so the current version is SPS 04. Just let me put some more over here. 1 2 3 4. Okay, so SPS 02, release 2.0, SPS 02. This also like for the machine learning related application, right? Suppose if you have developed one ML application, and if you want to integrate with HANA, that started getting supported by this SPS 02. So for example, Google's TensorFlow ML library, so machine learning library, the Google TensorFlow, like where you can or maybe you can simply write the TensorFlow, where you do the programming in Python and all, right? TensorFlow. So these all got introduced, and it got uh, so you can develop the machine learning application and all in this HANA also. In HANA also, the it's a sensor and all, it's a sensitive, like you can attach some sensor kind of application also in HANA. Okay, and that in SPS 03, this was again for the enhanced security. A lot of enhanced security got introduced in this release, and the current version is SPS 04. Here also a lot of enhanced security. So mostly the enhanced security, and there are so many also things got introduced, but mainly it is oriented towards the enhanced security. Okay, so this is the overall scenario when you are going to talk about the HANA development. Okay, now we will see in detail how is the HANA architecture. These things are very important in order to understand the HANA functionality, HANA behavior, in order to be a good ABAP programmer on HANA. Though in real time, generally it is required for those people, who is from the basis background or HANA administrative background. But for also, it's going to be very, very useful. So we know that HANA is an appliance, right? HANA is an appliance. So appliance, when we tell, that means it's a combination of software and a hardware. Okay. So I'm just going to quickly show you over here how HANA is having the different layer. Okay. HANA is having, for example, let me do one thing. I'm going to represent HANA with this diagram. Suppose this is our HANA database. Okay. Suppose this is our HANA database. Okay, so in this database, if you talk about the very first layer is the application server layer. In this database, the very first layer is the application server layer. So maybe I'm just going to draw this, and here I will write this is the very first layer is the application server layer. And in application server layer, you are having the different component. Okay, you are having the access engine. In fact, so what is the meaning of access engine? Just I have explained you, access engine is nothing but it's a application server. Okay, this is also known as extended server. This is also known as extended server. So here you can develop your native application itself. Extended server in HANA itself, you can develop your native application extended server. You don't require one SAP further application server. But of course, this application server is having its own importance, its own flexibility. Okay, here you can, ABAP is having so powerful language that you can do any kind of manipulation, a lot of things you can do. It is having limited functionality. This application server which is there in the HANA database, it is having limited functionality, though you can do some basic reporting kind of stuff you can do. And that application which you are going to develop in this HANA database, that is called the native application. Okay, that is called the native HANA application. You are going to use the language over here, node.js. Okay, you can use the Java, it all supports. Okay, so these are the stuff you are having. In application server layer, for this access engine, you are having two types of support over here. Classic access. Okay, you are having access classic or classic access, whatever you want. Classic access classic, and another you are having, access advanced. So both is having, like, access advanced is having some advanced feature, like you have seen Gmail Classic or Gmail Advanced, right? So Gmail Classic is having some classical graphics and all. Yahoo Classic and Yahoo Advanced, the current. Similarly, you can compare like that. Access Classic is having some old interface kind of stuff, whereas the Access Advanced is having some advanced interface, advanced functionality, advanced things which you can use over there. Okay, this is one part of this HANA server. Okay, so maybe I can put over here this particular layer, I can define with the help of just some another color. I can put it over here. So this is the application server, and another, what we are having, another layer which is very important layer, that is the index server layer. In fact, this is the true DB index server. So if someone is asking to you, in it's because the HANA is not a database, right? It's not a database merely, it's a appliance, it's a platform where software also installed, hardware is also installed. It is not going to contain only the data, where application server is also there. So if someone is asking in HANA appliance, what is the actual DB? In interview sometimes they ask what is the actual DB in the HANA. So what you have to tell, index server is our actual DB. Okay, index server is the actual DB, it's the true DB, it's the heart of the DB. Okay, it's a true DB. So in this index server, actually this index server is integrated with web dispatcher. This contains the web dispatcher, which is going to connect with your Fury application, which is going to connect with your BIBW application. Okay, so in this index server you are having, it supports SQL, right? It will be having the SQL optimizer in this index DB. You will be also having MDX. So what is this MDX? SQL is for our, for our own purpose, right? SQL, like when we are going to write any query, any select query, or any kind of, update, modify, insert, delete. So this is taken care by this SQL optimizer. Similarly, in BI or BW system also, when you are going to write the query, that query is going to be taken care by this MDX tool. Okay, so this also is known as the MDX tool, multi-dimensional expression tool. So BI and BW is going to be handled by this, so BI or BW query. Okay, here index server is also used for the planning scenario, BI or BW planning scenario. It's going to be tightly integrated. Okay, here authorization check, authorization check also gets performed. Okay, all the row store, column store, whatever, the data storage is there, row store, column store, all these things is going to be uh, taken care by this index server only. Whenever you are going to insert any data, So every kind of data related operation is going to taken care by this index server. Okay, index server, sorry, column store. Okay, so this is going to be, this index server is very important. It's a true DB. In fact, it is having, you know, very large significance. Okay, and then you are having a name server. There is one more server over here in HANA. You are having one more server that is called the name server. Why this name server? What is the meaning of this name server? So this name server is nothing but, suppose you have installed one HANA database and tomorrow you want to expand your HANA database with multiple HANA database, right? So what will happen that the very first database where you have, you know, for example, maybe I can explain in this way. uh, Suppose earlier you have installed this database and tomorrow you needed some more database. You realize that you require some more database to store the data, or to you saw that no performance is like you have to handle large amount of data or large business you have to handle. So this is your main database. So on top of this main database, just you are going to connect the another instance of the HANA database as well with this main database. So just you are going to scale your database. Okay, so once you start scaling, once you start expanding the database, at that time you require some mechanism. Okay, so that mechanism is taken care by the name server. Okay, so that mechanism will be taken care by the name server. So name server is nothing but, you know, name server is nothing but, so if you talk about the name server, so it's nothing but it is used to load balancing, right? Suppose first point is it is used to scale the database. Scale means you can increase number of database. If you have only one, you can increase to 2 3 4 like that, 6 7. So it provides scalability. It provides scalability, so it is used to scale the main database. Okay, and the second point, you are having, you know, now you are having multiple database, right? So now you got the distributed scenario, because you are having the distributed HANA database, right? You can see 1 2 3 4, it is distributed. So in this distributed scenario, suppose one database is going to get more load, then this name server will decide which database is now free, and that load is going to distribute to that particular database which is free. So name server is also used for the distributing the load. So it is used for distributing the load. So distributing the load is known as load balancing in base system. Load balancing, okay, in base system. So generally we will tell load balancing. So name server will be used for the load balancing. So this is two important aspect of the name server. Okay, maybe we can paste it over here. Okay, fine. So this is the name server we are having, very important, this name server. After that you are having the script server. Okay, after that we are having the script server. So what is this script server? What does it do, this script server? So this script server is nothing but, we are having, you know, the SQL script, right? We are having one language called SQL script, which is going to get supported by this script server. So you can run your SQL script code on this script server. So whenever you are going to create some AMDP program, and inside that AMDP program, if you are going to run the SQL script, that is going to come over here on this particular uh, component of this HANA server, and it will be executed by this. So SQL script uh, compilation and, you know, compilation and execution, it will be taken care by this script server. Okay, another sorry, another we are having another layer we are having, you know, that is known as uh, and here I'm missing some part here in the script server. You know, in this script server also you are having uh, a lot many good things. For example, it is having, you know, AFL component. There is one component called AFL. Its meaning means application function library. Okay, so this script server contains this application function library, and in this application function library you are having three types of library. Okay, you are having three types of library. What are those library? So in fact, we are having three. PAL. This PAL is known as predictive analysis library. Predictive analysis library. So when you have to write a code, or if you're going to write some coding which is useful in predictive or kind of planning scenario, okay, some kind of prediction, okay, in that case this is actually some library. This is some library which allows you to do the coding for the prediction purpose, for the planning purpose. Okay, and here another you are having, you know, the EML. So it is also known as extended machine library. This EML is known as extended machine library. Extended machine library. So extended machine library means uh, uh, extended machine library means it's going to all your machine learning. It's going to support all your machine learning application. Okay, so it's going to support your all machine learning application. So you know, uh, it supports the R language. Okay, it also supports the, this particular component support the R language. You know, Python and R, there are two languages in which we are going to create our machine learning application, right? These are the two popular language, R language and Python language, in which we are going to create our machine application, ML application. So here it is having a extended machine library at a script server level in the HANA database, which is going to, you know, which is going to be useful, which is going to be useful to create any machine learning application. Okay, or which can be used to support any machine learning application. Okay, then we are having the document store server. So if you come to this particular part, document, the last one which we are having, or maybe one or two, I can also write document store server. So document store server. So what is this document store server? So it's nothing but it is just to store a kind of, you know, like a big data kind of stuff, big large document. If you have to store the large document, then in that case you are going to use this one. So all the large document is going to get stored in the form of a JSON. Okay, JSON object. So you know, JavaScript object notation, in that format it's going to be stored over here. So these are some important things. Again, also you are having, if you want to see, you know, you are having the preprocessor server. You are having preprocessor server. Preprocessor server. You have a statical server. Okay, you have the statical server. So it will just give you the analysis about how many total records read, how many inserted, how is the load. So all kind of statistics will be performed by the statistical server. Statistical server. Okay, so this is going to be helpful, preprocessor, statistical. And then also, you know, you are having one integration server. With the help of that in fact that is a layer, we can call it a layer, with the help of which, you know, what you can do, that here maybe I can write something like this. We are having, you know, integration server or integration layer, maybe you can tell integration layer. So integrations layer is nothing but just to integrate. Suppose if you want to integrate the Facebook or Twitter or something, you know, some any web stuff, okay, Facebook or Twitter, if you want to integrate with this HANA, then you can use this integration layer. Okay, then another, you are having the LM tool. Okay, very important, this LM tool is nothing but life cycle management tool. Life cycle management tool. So when we tell about the life cycle, what does it mean? That means you are going to manage its life, right? You are going to manage its life. So that means if you want to update the patch of this HANA, so this will be all kind of installation, okay, new installation or update, right? Installation, update kind of stuff is taken care by this life cycle. Or uninstallation, if you want to uninstall some update or patch, right? So uninstall, so such kind of things will be taken care by this ML tool. Okay, again you are having, you know, uh, again you are having one more layer, that is called the tooling and provisioning support layer. This is highly useful when you are going to migrate your legacy system data into the HANA database system. So maybe you can write it as a tooling and provisioning tool. So this is, you know, overall, so this is for the data migration purpose. Okay, data migration. Provisioning is nothing but data migration. From the different sources you are going to get the data into your main HANA database. So these are important stuff you should know about this HANA database, that you know, there are so many components. Just this is a high level overview, but as a ABAP or HANA developer, it's a sufficient to have a high level overview. Okay, so maybe I can put some color over here. Okay, and here also I will put all this. So these are the different layer we are having. Okay, and we are going to use this one. Fine. So just a second. And here the preprocessor server, maybe I can put over here. Okay, and the integration layer lifecycle management tool, these are also, you know, the different part. This also, maybe let me put quickly over here. Fine. Okay, so now we can go ahead and we can see some more stuff like index server. Already we have seen over here that what is this. I wanted like to explain in more detail, but already I have detail explained. This index server is our true database server. It's going to play an important role over here, right? So just save it over here. And now what we can start over here, and if by this point of time if you have any doubt, please go ahead and you can ask any doubt. If you have any doubt over here at this point of time, if you have any doubt, you can simply go ahead and you can ask any doubt. If you have just a second, someone is. Yeah, sorry, actually someone is knocking my door. Okay, fine. So mm, so we can now we start looking into, suppose we understood all these things, like you know that HANA is so powerful, everything we understood, right? The architecture also we understood in detail. But now our question is, for example, now we want to migrate our existing code into the HANA database, right? So some set of codes has been written into this existing ABAP programming language. So that part we want to move on the HANA database. That code actually we want to move into the HANA database. So we are already having this part over here. Maybe some code is written over here, and this we want to move to the HANA database. So we have to make those part of the code is the HANA compatible. Okay, so how we can make those part of the code as HANA compatible? Okay, so this is a very important, like just we are talking about the migration project. Suppose one uh, in one organization is there where ERP is installed, and in that ERP, in backend some Oracle or whatever the previous database is there, and the code now we are going to move towards the HANA database. So what are the things we have to take care? So the very first thing what we'll have to take care, that is, in existing code we'll have to check if some native SQL is there. So when we talk about the native SQL, what is the meaning of native SQL? Okay, so because you all are from the ABAP background, you must be knowing what is native SQL. Still, I will go into the system and maybe I will write one small program, and there I will show you how the native SQL is going to work. So let me quickly open the system over here, and I'm just going to connect my system. So native SQL, that means it's directly going to work. So whatever the code you are going to write in form of native SQL, it's directly going to execute at the HANA database itself. Okay, so I'm just going to open this HANA Studio. Okay, and here first I will write some select query. Okay, I will write some SQL code over there, and then I will show you the same code you can use in the SAP logon, like at application server layer you can use that one. Okay, so just a second, let me close once again and start. Okay, fine. So here, like you can see that my HANA Studio getting opened. Okay, it's taking some time to open. Yeah, now it got opened. Let me delete. It's showing something. I don't know what it is. Okay, remove this one. Okay, so this here you can see that here HDB is connected. I'm just going to double click over here. It's asking to me for a password. Let me check my password over here, and paste it. It's taking some time. Meanwhile, I can start this one also, ABAP HANA 02, and okay, fine. Yeah, this got opened. I think server seems to be down. Let's wait for some time. Okay, here this is our ABAP like GUI where we can write our code over here. So go to SE38, And if suppose I'm just going to write some morning batch HANA uh, demo one, I will write simple program over here for the net, just to demonstrate the native SQL. So if such kind of code is there which is already written, okay, that will have to take care while doing the migration. Okay, so all the native SQL code will be written in form of, it will be starting with exec SQL, and it is going to, uh, end with end exec. Okay, so exec SQL and end exec, in between this you are going to have the native SQL. Most of the time we have been using as a ABAP developer the OpenSQL. Most of the time we have been using the OpenSQL. So when I talk about the OpenSQL, that means whatever the underlying database is there, we don't have to bother about. The syntax is going to be same. For example, if I'm going to write select a star from Mara, for example, into table, and the new syntax I'm going to use directly over here, and we are going to see the detail, the new syntax, all the new syntax introduced, every new syntax, almost most of the new syntax we are going to cover in our coming classes. Maybe from tomorrow I'm going to start the, once I complete all this basic stuff, then we will go and we will learn in detail about the new OpenSQL and new syntax. So here, this is a part of a new syntax only I'm using. So at runtime directly, I'm going to declare this, internal table. This is an internal table. So whatever data I'm going to fetch from this Mara, I'm just going to put into this IT underscore table. So this is a open SQL in fact, so whatever your underlying database, either it's a Oracle, MaxDB or Sybase, whatever it is, this syntax will be always same. It is not going to be changed, always same. But exec SQL and between end exec, whatever the syntax you are going to write over here, that must be the, compatible with the whatever database you are having. Means here you are going to write the native SQL. Here you are going to write the native SQL. So when I tell the native SQL, here in our scenario, what is the backend database? I can go to this status, and we can go to this. You can see over here, it's a HDB, right? HDB is nothing but HANA database. So whatever code you are going to write it over here, directly it will run at the HANA database layer. Here, this OpenSQL first will get converted into the native SQL with the help of database abstraction layer, right? You must be knowing this concept, right? So why like this OpenSQL, we are having the application server here, right? So all the code is going to run at this application server. So whenever you are going to write any code, okay, for example, if you are going to write any OpenSQL, there is a database abstraction interface. Database abstraction interface. This is a component of the application server. This interface is going to convert, this particular interface is going to convert, just a second, I'm trying to put it some color over here. Yeah, so this particular interface is going to convert this OpenSQL into the native SQL. So whatever the database is here, you don't have to bother about. It can be any database. So this database abstraction interface will convert this OpenSQL into the corresponding database's native SQL. Okay, so if it is a Oracle over here, that OpenSQL will get converted into the Oracle native SQL. Oracle native SQL. If you are having the Sybase over here, it's going to get converted into Sybase native SQL. You don't have to bother. Tomorrow you can remove any database and you can put any database. Okay, so that's the benefit of this OpenSQL. It's compatible with any of the database. Okay, it's compatible with the any database. But if we're going to write, but if we're going to write any native SQL, like if we're going to write exec and end exec, if we're going to write any native SQL, so whenever you write any native SQL, you must have to put, you know, in between exec and end exec. Okay, so here some code you have written, some select query in native language you have written. So this, whenever the database abstraction interface will see exec and end exec, it will not do anything with the code whichever written inside this exec and end exec. So some set of code will be there, you know, some set of code will be there. This is not going to be taken care by this database abstraction interface. Directly this query will be fired to this database. Okay, it will not be going to convert it because it's already converted, right? Because it's already native SQL. So it's not going to be taken care by this database abstraction interface. Directly it will come over here, it will fetch the data, and whatever the variable and all whatever you have defined over there in some predefined syntax, you will have to put it over there and it will work. Okay, so maybe I will show you some examples. So this is one native SQL. Okay, sorry, open SQL. So this is the example of open SQL. Then I will show you the native SQL, how you can write it over here from HANA perspective. Let me show you if it got opened. Some problem is there. SAP control request failed. Why this? Some problem is there, you know, it's not up. Okay, no issue. I have one more server over here. So here actually this is the SQL console over here. You can, but there is no database connection it is showing. So maybe some problem. I don't know what is the actual problem, but it's not working. Okay, I leave it as of now. Okay. In tomorrow class, what I will do, today itself, I will set up all this configuration and all. I think someone has deleted, or because it's a demo server, that's why it is not set up already. Here itself, I will show you, you know, the native SQL. Okay, there also, like directly at HANA database layer itself, you can write the query. Okay, that's what I wanted to show. But because the server is not working, I'm not able to show you. So what you can do, directly you can write it over here, exec, between exec and end exec, and when you will run, it will just fetch the data from there and it will give the data to you. So I'm going to select the data, select, you know, select maybe a star from, suppose Mara table is there, into and work area. Okay, I'm just going to give this one. Okay, so whatever you have written between exec SQL and end exec, this syntax is not going to be checked. Okay, this syntax is not going to be checked. So it will give you SQL exception. There is a CL SQL exception class that it will give you, and that if you want, you can handle that exception. You can catch that exception. So maybe you can write this code under try and catch block, and that way you can handle. So now you can see this is the WA, this is the work area. This work area I have to declare it. So I'm just going to declare this work area WA, type Mara. Okay, because it's a native SQL, you know, I cannot use the open SQL command like this runtime declaration, the new syntax. I cannot use. I will have to use the old syntax itself, data WA type Mara. And here, because it's a host variable, you have to use, you know, colon over here. So select a star from Mara into WA. Here we are just writing, and what it will do, it will get the single file, a single record from the Mara table, and it will put it over here into this work area. Okay, now if you want to just print this one, what you can do, you can just print it. So WA hyphen, you know, maybe material MATNR WA hyphen mtart. So like that, just I want to print these two. Okay, check the syntax now, and you can see there is no error, but whatever in between this exec SQL and end exec, it is not going to be checked. So if there is some problem will be there, it will come into dump. Okay, you will get the dump. If there is no problem, it will give us the result. Okay, so I will activate this. Maybe I can put the breakpoint over here. Breakpoint you can put, press F8. Okay, so this is the Open SQL. In IT underscore table, you can see 2573 records has come from the Mara table, right? These are the different records from the Mara table. And here, let me check. So it is giving some dump. That means some problem is there, right? So here dot I have given. Okay, so native SQL does not support the dot. So let me remove that dot, and again we will try once again, and we will see this dot you don't have to give. Activate this one, run once again. Okay, press F5, and this time you can see it is working fine. In WA, the single record would have come over here. Okay, you can see the single record, it has come. So like that, you can, if you want to fetch the data, then you can keep on fetching the data and you can printing. Suppose if you have to print the multiple data, what you can do here, you can write performing. There is one here on performing. I think it's on performing, or maybe actually some syntax is there. Performing, let me write performing, and you can write some subroutine. Okay, so write Mara, maybe write material. I can give this syntax over here. Okay, and this subroutine, what you can do, this will be called every time after each single record. After each single record, it will keep on fetching the single record, and it will put it over here in this write underscore material. Actually it will call this subroutine. So let me so you know how to declare the subroutine, write material and end form. Okay, and this you can keep on writing over here. Okay, so just let me check if it is fine. It looks good. Okay, it got activated. Okay, and now press F8, and you can see there are so many material got printed this time, right? So it is nothing but this total material. And even if you want to prepare the table, what you can do, you can prepare the table. So already IT underscore table I have declared over here, runtime declaration. This is also known as the inline declaration. We are going to discuss these things in detail, right? So if you want to prepare the table, so what I can do, maybe I can clear this table, clear IT underscore table over here, so that the same IT underscore table, if you want, you can append over here. But the thing is here, this IT underscore table is having the type compatibility same as Mara, because a star is here, all the fields you are going to select. So what I will do, I will declare only two fields, matner and mtat, because I'm going to print this only. So uh, matnr and mtart, these two fields. So because I'm going to select these two fields, at the runtime itself this internal table will be declared with these two fields only. It will not be having more than these two fields. Okay, so now I can use this internal table for my appending purpose. Okay, so if you want to append, if you want to prepare the internal table, so wa underscore mara into to it underscore mara. Check the syntax, and some error is there. What it's telling, that if host variable is kept using this. Okay, fine. So table from Mara, new syntax you will have to use the comma over here. Now check, it is fine. WA hyphen is expected. Okay, actually WA only I have used. So now you'll check, it will be no problem. It underscore Mara is unknown, it is telling. It's a table actually. It underscore table I'm supposed to use, control V, and this should be fine now. Lines of WA cannot be converted to each other. In a Unicode program, it underscore table must have the same structure layout as WA, regardless of the length of the Unicode. That's fine. Material number and mtot, material number and mtot I'm using over here from Mara into table at the rate it underscore table. It's okay. And WA type Mara, actually it's a type incompatible. I have here forgot to do. So what I will do, WA like line of IT underscore table I will do. So it will be having the same work area, right? Check the syntax. Now there is no problem. Activate this one and we can put the breakpoint, and here also you can put the breakpoint, and you can see every time this time it's going to call it. Okay, so press F5 and you can see as soon as it has selected, it has called this write material subroutine, and here it is appending work area into internal table, right? And IT underscore table one record got appended. And similarly, similarly press F6 and you will see the total, the total it's going to have total, whatever the total Mara record is there, all the record it will come over here, all the record. So maybe I will show you, but you will see one discrepancy might be, you thinking why it is going to happen like this. Okay, I will show you the reason for that. Okay, so here just remove this one, and this one also as of now just remove. And what I'm going to do, that this IT underscore table, I'm going to make this table one. Okay, and another, I don't have any other way, types begin of ts underscore Mara maybe, and matnr type matnr. So still the old syntax is useful, everywhere you cannot use the new syntax, but new syntax provides you lot of flexibility, but still old syntax sometimes you will have to use. Okay, so here I have declared this structure, and I'm going to create the another table. So IT table one is already declared over here, and this IT underscore table I'm just going to declare with the help of this structure which I have just created. So type table of ts underscore Mara, pretty printer. Check the syntax, it's fine. And here I will just put a breakpoint so that I can show you what discrepancy you will get in the some error is there. That error is because after this form and info I'm doing all this stuff. Just to put it over here, now it should be fine. Activate it, and now you can put the breakpoint over here and press or this IT underscore table is clearing not required at this point of time. So what I will do, I'll put the breakpoint over here. Now press F8. Okay, so here you can see in IT underscore table 1, when I'm going to use the open SQL, it's going to 2573 records, right? But here maybe you will get some different number of records. Okay, so I will show you why you will get the different number of records. Okay, so just press F8. It just stopped over here after running this one breakpoint. Okay, this form got called, but it was not able to stop. Okay, but I want to stop it. So what I will do for that, maybe I will put this form and end form. I will keep it in beginning itself, or maybe at last also you can put, there is no problem over here. So after this selection, after this writing, I want to just show, or maybe I'm just going to comment this one. Okay, and I want to get the cursor over here. So let me use this event, a start of selection, activate this one. Let me run now. Okay, press F8, and this time it got stopped over here. Fine. So IT underscore table, here you can see in this IT underscore table, all the record got faced from this Mara table with the help of native SQL, right? I'm using the native SQL to fill up this IT underscore table, right? Write material using this subroutine. But here, if you see in this open SQL, IT table 1 I'm using. In IT table 1, we are having 2573, right? We are having only 2573 records, but in native SQL we are having 2636 records. Why this discrepancy? Any one of you can tell me why this discrepancy is there? Why this number of records is different? Okay, why this number of records? The reason behind, if you see over here in this IT underscore table one, which I'm using over here, the open SQL, right? IT table one, I'm getting the data from Mara table using the open SQL. For the same table one by one, I'm getting the data and putting into this IT underscore table, but here number of records is more. The reason behind, IT underscore table one, automatic client handling is there. That means the data is going to get fetched from here, you can see only from 800 client. Okay, only the data is going to get fetched from the 800 client. Okay, when you are going to use the open SQL, that means by default database abstraction layer put in where condition mandt equals 800. By default it will put mandt equal to 800, though you are not going to put mandt equal to 800. By default it will put it over here, mandt equal to 800. If you're going to put also, there is no problem, it is going to give the same result, or maybe it will give some error. Okay, you can see that it is telling you cannot specify, right? Though mandt is a field of this Mara table, you can see over here and come over here. So mandt field is nothing but a client field which is helping us to make a database content the client specific, right? So if you come over here under the content, go to SE16N Mara, and you can see here the space effect. Okay, and here the by default client it is not showing. Okay, client actually it is not showing over here, you can see, but by default it is all the data it is taking from the 800 client. Okay, all the data it's showing from the 800 client. So is the 11 SC38, once again we can go ahead, and if you would like to see the client, you can fetch over here the client as well, mandt. Okay, where condition you will not be able to put the region behind, you know, system does not support. By default it will put where mandate equal to 800. By default it will put, okay, by default it will put where mandate equal to. So I will not delete this one, rather I will just put it like this for our reference. Check the syntax now, there is no problem, and I will show you this is going to fetch only the data from, you know, the mandt. Okay, so here from the Mara IT table, some error is telling error formatting line 23. What is the error over here? Check the syntax. Yeah, no syntax. Yeah, it got activated. Okay, and here also the select star from Mara into WA. If I'm going to use this one, you know, here automatically that mandt field will be coming, and maybe here I'll be able to show you. Okay, so select star from Mara, and WA I'm putting into IT underscore table. So here a star is not required because the two field only, so maybe here also I'm just going to give mandt, matnr, okay, and mtart. This three field I just I'm going to give it over here. Check the syntax, it's fine. Activate this one, it got activated. So, and here also what I can do, I will mark mandt, type mandt, pretty printer, check the syntax, activate this one. Okay, and I'll put the breakpoint over here, press F8. Okay, press F6, and you can see this in IT underscore table one, you are having only 800 client, right? If you want to verify that you are having only 800, you can go into the LB format and you can put the filter over here, press F4, and you can see only 800 is there. That means throughout this column you are having only 800. Now if you go and check over here, um, what happened? mtart error 257, the default database, some problem at runtime occurred. mandt, that's fine. mtart here, mandt partner mtart, okay, fine. So here actually we have to give the comma, okay. It does not support, it expects for the comma, okay, because it's the native SQL. So that's the problem. You can see how much problem I'm facing when I'm writing the native SQL. It is not giving the syntax check, you know. So here you have to give the comma, because native SQL, when we write the code, you will see that I'm going to use the comma over there. Let me check if it works. Again, if some problem is there, it's not going to run. F5 and F5, this time it worked, right? So it is fine now. And here the client also this time 800, but here you will get some different client as well. Okay, here you will get some different client as well. So I wanted to stop it here at the breakpoint. Just activate once again, press F8, press F8 over here, that's fine. And in IT underscore table, you can see 2636 record we are having. And again, in IT underscore table, we are having uh, we are having 2636, and IT underscore table 1, we are having 2573. So it is having less. Why? Because only the IT underscore table 1 is having only 800 mandate client. 800 client. Here if you see, some 00 is also coming, right? When you are using the native SQL, client handling you have to take care of. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If you are going to use a native SQL, you can see the 00 also it is considering, and 800 is also considering. So it is fetching the data from 800 client as well. Okay, so when you are going to write the open SQL, the data is going to fetch from the current client only. Okay, from the current client only. But when we are going to use the native SQL, data is going to get fetched from all the client. Okay, all the client. That's why here you are able to see the more number of records. And if you put the filter over here on the 800 only, you will get exactly the same amount of data which is there from the 800. So here you can see 2636 records only is here. And if you see here also, uh, sorry, uh, I did some mistake. So total entry is 2636. I'm just going to filter with 800, and if you filter, you have to count it now. Okay, you have to count it total how many records is there. So 63, 65, 66, you will have to count it, and maybe uh, I will quickly count and I will show you. Just but it will not get copied, you can see, because I have to go and refresh. So better, instead of doing this one, what I will do, I will show you in a different way. I will put here the where condition. Here you will have to handle the client like this: mandt equals 800. You will have to give. Let us see if it's going to work or not. In where condition, it should work. Activate and just run it, press F8, and it worked fine, good. And this time you will be able to see in both the number of record will be same. IT underscore table, you can see 2573, and this IT underscore table one also the 2573, right? So here in native SQL, you will have to consider, you have to handle the client explicitly. Very, very important. Very, very important. Okay. Otherwise, you will get the wrong result. Okay. Fine. So this you understood like what is the native SQL and what I'm trying to deal over there while writing the migration. Okay. So native SQL is always the database specific. And suppose if we're going, uh, uh, if suppose if we're moving from one database to another database, right? From Oracle to HANA database. So all the native SQL code which has been written over there in the existing database, you have to go and you have to convert into the HANA specific SQL script. You have to remove the SQL script, Oracle or MySQL or Sybase specific code, and you have to put the HANA specific code over there. Then only that native SQL will work. Otherwise, it will not work, right? Or it will give you dump, right? It will give you dump at runtime. So the first point while doing the migration, so I'm going to do the migration. So what important stuff you will have to take care while doing the migration? You'll have to, while doing the migration, below points need to be considered on priority. You must have to consider this point, otherwise you will fall into problem. Okay, so the very first point is, native SQL. It's a potential candidate to give you the dump, or once it will give the dump, your functionality is not going to work, right? Your functionality is not going to work. So the first one, so identify the native SQL and handle accordingly. Handle according to handle according to HANA database, because you are moving to the HANA database according to HANA database. Now the second point, the very important point, the second point is when you are moving from one point to another point, like when you are going to move from uh, one database to another database, the second things what you will have to consider, the sorting you will have to consider, right? You will have to consider the sorting. Okay, so this is also is very important point, right? So what happens, like, when if we're going to write some select query over here, this is actually HANA database, right? The current yeah, sorry. So just light gone, that's why the problem is there. Fine, no problem. So here, uh, the database is HANA database. So when you are going to write some select query, and if you are going to use some, the greater than, less than, some comparison operator, right? If we're going to use some comparison operator, that place also you'll have to identify and you have to take care of. Okay, so what you have to take care and what you have to identify, I will let you know over here. So native SQL you understood, I'm just going to comment this one. Okay, and here, you just come over here, and here, for example, suppose if you want to, in where condition, you want to give something like, we have to get only those material, only those material which is greater than 100, something like that, or where the NTGEW, some, this is some price field or quantity field, net weight, actually this is the field for net weight, some quantity field is there, and this I'm just going to get only those material whose quantity is suppose more than 100. Okay, something like that. So wherever you will get, wherever such kind of query has been written in earlier database, for example, if your database is Oracle database, okay, for example, suppose if you are having the Oracle database, then what will happen, that Oracle database by default will sort the material with net weight. If you are going to put, the select query, so let me just show you over here. Okay, so here suppose you are having material and you are having ntgw, right? So here suppose you are having 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. These are the material, and suppose if you are having, this is the weight 10, this is the 20, this is the 30, this is 100, this is 200, this is 300, this is 30, this is 45, like that you are having some data you are having. So what Oracle will do, because you are just comparing, right? Just you are going to compare, that you have to take only those records which is greater than, ntgew is greater than, you know nt ntgew is greater than 100, you have written in your select query. So what generally it does, first it will sort the data, right, based upon this ntgw. Okay, it will sort the data based upon the ntgw. So just I'm going to sort it, and how it will look like when you will sort it over here. Here if you're going to sort, expand the selection, yes, and here you can see it got sorted 10 20 30 30 45. The earlier got sorted, and accordingly map now got adjusted, right? So in the same way, Oracle implicitly does this sorting, and what it will do to improve the performance, when ntgw is greater than 100, it will get only this, 200 records, because it is going to fetch only, greater than 100, and it will, when it will, it will just ignore this, it will just ignore this one, because it has to get only this 200. And whatever, suppose if we are having some material which is 300, and if it is a 400, and here some material number maybe 20 21, something like that, your material number is there, so it is going to show you only 200 300 and 400, right? So it will automatically do the sorting, and it will fetch the data after this 100, so it will improve the performance. But but what will happen if you don't sort it? Let it be like earlier itself. So how it was earlier, it was like this earlier. So if you don't sort it, and if system is going to find out, the material which is greater than 100, what it will do, suppose, once it will find, suppose you are having some quantity over here called 300. Okay, so in the unsorted order, if it is going to check, when it will find that 300 is there, so ntgw is greater than 100, means this 300 is there. So what system will think, this is the maximum 300 which is found over here, and it's already there in the sorted order. This is the problem I'm telling about in HANA database. In Oracle and in MaxDB and in another database, it implicitly takes care of. In HANA, this is the problem, and maybe in some another version it might get solved, or I don't know, like, or it is the limitation of design or what. But you know this kind of problem, like, it will just ignore, you are looking for ntgw greater than 100, it will just take this 300 and it will ignore this 200. Okay, because once it will find this 300, system will think that it is already sorted, though it is not sorted. So this is one big problem. This is one big problem. So what you will have to do to avoid this problem, because you are going to do the comparison over here based upon this net weight, what you will have to do, you have to sort it explicitly by writing order by ntgew, and now your problem is solved. Okay, now every time you will get the correct result. So what it will do, the HANA database is going to first sort it. Okay, in if you don't write that order by clause, it is the probability that it will not sort. Sometimes it will sort, sometimes it will not sort, means you cannot make sure. Sometimes it will give you the correct result, sometimes it will give you the right results. You can also do some experiment. Okay, you will get. Okay, So this is the problem. So to avoid this problem, you must have to include the order by clause. You must have to first do the sorting. So what you will have to do over here in the second point, you have to write whenever any select query is there uh, with uh, with greater than, with greater than or less than relational operator. This is what? This is relational operator, right? Relational, less than relational operator. Then you must have, to sort it uh, by that field, on which relational operator has been applied, by that field on which comparison has been applied, so very very important. Okay, it will not give you dump, but it will give you the incorrect result. Okay, the first one will give you the dump. This first one is very very dangerous. So the first one will give you the dump, the second one will give you the wrong result. Okay, if you're not going to take care of the second one, it is going to give you the wrong result. So it is not that much dangerous, but can be dangerous if you are going to get the wrong result, maybe more dangerous. Okay, the third point, what you have to take care of, SQL hint. SQL hint you will have to take care. So what is this SQL hint? So actually this SQL hint is a kind of metadata information. What is the metadata? The metadata is nothing but the data about data. What is the data about data? The data about data is nothing but the extra information about the data. Extra information about the data means the property of the data. Okay, so SQL hint, if you are writing some SQL, okay, suppose if we're going to write some open SQL over here, and on this Mara table, if you go and check what are the index has been created, you can come over here the technical settings, right? uh, I'm looking for the index. Here you can see that this is the indexes, and here you can see so many indexes is there, right? A, B, M, A, all these things, blah blah, different kind of indexes we are having, right? So if you want on this particular, if you want that on this particular place where we have writing the code, you want to use some particular secondary index to improve the performance. So what you can do, you can apply the SQL hint over here. So this is the syntax for this. You have to start in single quotes, okay, something like that, and here some kind of prefer, something like that. I don't remember exactly the the syntax, but it will be something like, it will start with percentage hint, and then it will be something like prefer, or it will be after percentage hint, it can be different. Okay, so that you can check from net, and you can check, okay, and you can see. So such kind of SQL hint, though it will not give you any problem even technically or functionally, but what it will do, it may, it will simply ignore. So why to keep it there if it is not going to work in case of HANA database? Because the SQL hint is database specific. Though it will not create any problem, it's not going to create any problem. It will not give any dump, it will not give any incorrect result, but it will not improve the performance also. So what you can do, this is optional, you can make it, and if you want, you can remove, or just to improve the performance, you can check what is the available SQL hint for that particular database. Okay, what is the available SQL hint? Okay, so this you will have to take care. So identify the SQL hint, and if it is there, make compatible, change accordingly, change as per HANA database, change as per HANA DB. Okay, this you will have to take care. the third point. The fourth point, what you will have to do, because you are doing the conversion, because you are going to do the conversion, there are so many points in fact you can take care, but these 2 points is very very important. Okay, so another point what you can do, the secondary index, all the column store behaves like a secondary index, like all the column store field behaves like a secondary index, so you don't have to create the extra indexes, right? So if you go and check one table, there is a table called BUT 000. Go into this display, and for this, if you go and check the indexes, there are so many indexes you can see, right? And if you want to check how many indexes are active at this point of time, you can go to utility, and you can go to this database object and click on this display. Okay, you will be able to see its property and all. Okay, so it is showing like how at the HANA database level this data is going to be stored. So in HANA database level, the data type is n varchar. N means new, varchar variable character, new variable character. So at data dictionary level it is the char 3, right? But here it is n varchar 3. It's a n varchar 10. So it's just telling you how it has been converted into the database. And here you can see the indexes. So many indexes has been removed, many secondary indexes has been removed in HANA, if you are having the HANA database, because all the column stored is going to behave like a secondary index. So you don't require secondary index over there. But still, if you want, you can use, there is no problem, but it is not recommended. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 secondary index, and here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So there it is 8 and here it is 15. So only you are having 8 secondary indexes over there. 7 has been removed, right? 7 has been removed. So when you are going to the secondary, when you are going to the HANA database, some of the indexes, some of the secondary index which you feel it is not required, you can remove. So this also you can take care of. So secondary indexes can be removed because HANA itself creates index for all the fields individually. It will create the index, so there is no point of creating. But sometimes, like, because HANA is going to create all the fields individually on the fields, sometimes maybe in some situation you have to create the secondary index, but it's very rare. So generally we are not supposed to create the secondary index. Okay, this is the fourth point. Fifth point, what you will have to do if you are going to see some code, because you are going to you are going onto the HANA database, so you will have to take care of the performance measurement of measurement. So what is this performance measurement? So to take care of this performance measurement, you have to take care of the performance measurement technique. Okay, so what is this performance measurement technique? Okay. What is this performance measurement technique? I will tell you. Let me open a new slide. So what I will do, this one now, and this also, and I will make it little larger. So these are the 4 points you will have to take care. What conversion, when you are going, fine. So now you have to take care of performance measurements. Okay. So before, see here, you have seen things, right? You have seen all these things, right? So all these things, how you will identify all these things? So the first 4 point, how you are going to identify. So you have to go code by code. Do you have to go code by code? So first points can be identified not by going code by code. SAP is designing a tool called SCI, SAP Code Inspector. You will have to use the variant there. You will have to use the variant called, performance underscore DB. Perform underscore DB. Uh, Sorry, performance is will come later. Functional underscore DB. So this code variant is going to help. Okay, this functional underscore DB is going to help you in order to identify what? In order to identify all these potential places, particular place, the native SQL, and the second, first and second is very, you know, very important. First and second is going to be very important. Third, fourth is fine. If you don't do, also it is okay. But from performance point of view, you can consider the third, fourth, and fifth is very important from performance point of view. The first two is very important from the uh, functionality point of view. Okay, so when you are going to use this functional DB, then at that point of time it is going to give you all the potential places where you are using the native SQL, where you are using, the relational operator, right, where you are going to perform the search. Then it is going to show you this SQL hint, right, secondary indexes, right. So all such kind of stuff it is going to give over there. So what you will have to do, that you can come to SCI slash n SCI, and you can see that this is the SAP code inspector, right? You can create one object set over here first. So Z test, I'm just going to create a Z test, and here the check variant, you can choose it over here. Let me first click on this create button, and here you can give some description already coming. So here you can see that component ID and the package, all these things is coming. That means here you will have to define all those objects which you are going to check, right? So for example, in our case, what it is, if you go and check, in our case I've created just one small program, right, this is, and if I want to check here what is the places where the code is going to give me the problem. So let me, I'm going to enable this one. Okay, this native SQL. Okay, and it looks good. And this binary search also I'm just going to remove. Control D. First one I will comment, and second one in where condition I'm going to remove. Fine. So check the syntax over here. WA is unknown. Okay, so WA I will have to declare. I think I forgot. Yeah, it's here. Okay, check the syntax now. IT underscore field. IT underscore field where we have declared. Okay, this now it should be fine. I think right underscore material does not exist. Okay, so check the syntax now and activate this one. Okay, and what actually I'm going to check, this report I have to check. So similarly you can have list of report which is there in the package, right? So maybe I can put it into my packet, some productive package I can put instead of local package. So just I'm going to use some Z uh, test package, something like that. Click on this package already may be created. I'm going to save, and some request it is telling. I'm just copying this one, click on this. Okay, okay, and now it is saved in some productive package. So that productive package name is JTest. So that JTest, what I can give here that package, so that whatever the object is there inside that package, it will be considered in order to do the check. Okay, so maybe or if you want to give some particular transport also, or if you want to give some component, right, you can see what are the available component, right, finance and all these things. These are the different type of component you are having. So if you want to check from the component wise, some material management, some tax related component, or some purchase order related component, so all the specific functionality is dedicated to a component. And there, if you want to check complete software component, right, application component, here you can see these are the different HR component. So component wise also you can check, but here we are talking about the customer, like customer code, like G code or Y code. So mostly we will be going through this package option. So I will give my package name. If I am having more than one package, I will use this option to give more than one package. Just I will save it over here. Click on the save button. It got saved. Go back, and here I will create the variant. So here what you will have to use, you will have to use the functional underscore db variant. Okay. So if you click on this functional underscore db, you can see global check variant exists. Okay, so you will be able to see the detail of this particular functional underscore db. So you can see what kind of check it is going to perform. So under security check, this is going to perform, right? It is having general check as well. Under this functional underscore db variant, you are having the yeah, but it is not selected, right? That means it is not going to perform. So it is going to perform the security check. And what is the security check, what kind of security check it is going to perform, you can see over here, right? Critical statements, right? That is the critical statement. What is that critical statement? That native SQL is the critical statement. Searches for certain critical statements. That means that search which I have been using, right? uh, select a star from that relational operator I was using over there, that kind of search. Dynamic and client specific select, again it is coming to the native SQL or ADBC. Okay, dynamic and client specific access using insert, update, modify, right? And so such kind of critical checks it is going to performed when you are going to select this one. Similarly, the robust programming, what is the option in robust programming? So searches for append and insert index in sorted tables. So on sorted table, it is, like if you are having some sorted table, you are going to use the, you know you will not be able to use in sorted table, you are not going to use the append, right? You can only be able to use the insert. So those kind of a statement you will have to check, and you have to correct as per your requirement, because sorted table is not very good use. It's not recommended to use everywhere. In some particular scenario only we are supposed to use, right? So check your scenario and how it's there. Based upon that we can use complex where condition in the. So like if you are having the complex where condition for the database, it's going to be very, you know uh, or for example, if somewhere you are going to get some select a star, right? So in select a star also it is not recommended in case of HANA database, because it's a column store, right? So if some select a star is there, just check, like if you can take some particular number of fields, some limited number of fields, and if it is going to help you over there. Okay, then you can see the search function, right? This is here, and you can simply click on this and you can see what is it's telling, what it is telling, and you can read it from here in detail. If you want, you can just go over here and you can check. But these are the major checks which need to be performed, and that is going to be taken care by this perform functional db. Okay, so here just I'm using this one. Okay, just you can save it. Okay, and code inspector, and you can just run it over here. You will get some option to run. Click on this test button. Okay, and this check and all this check class and everything is coming over here. Analyze, select dia, dil. I think so many object is there in that particular uh, package. Let me check once that package, otherwise we will create our own package. Okay, so that package was JTest package. I will go to this package and JTest, press enter, class library, class edge, and some classes already it has been created, and inside this there are many objects it seems to be, and that's why it is coming that many objects over there. So no problem, I will create my own package over here, ZMB test package. Click on this search button, yes, and test application component is not required. Click on this, okay, 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 and just I will activate this one. Double click on this package. Okay, okay, I think package we cannot activate, there is no option to activate. Fine, we can use directly this package ZMB test. Come over here and we'll again go into the change mode, and here I will give this package. Click on the save button, object set, object, and again this time we'll go and we'll check. It's not coming. Okay, no problem. What I will do now, I will go to the ATC, ABAP test cockpit. Okay, /OATC transaction I will go. Okay, and here you can see there are some schedule runs, monitor and control, manage. Here also you can run your all the code which you want to monitor, that also you can do over here. So maybe if you want to schedule some run, okay, if you want to schedule some run, what run you can schedule. Here you can see, for example, suppose if you have large amount of code and that is going to be run for many number of days, right? For example, suppose it is going to run some 1 week or 2 week time of a span, because large amount of code is there. So what you can do, you can come over here and you can click on this create button. You can give the name of the test, for example, Z MB Hana readiness. So actually this is known as also Hana readiness. Okay, Hana readiness, and click on this OK button. Once you click over here, the package and all you will have to give. Okay, and after that the check variant, here you can also use that, this particular, just I have shown you that functional db, functional underscore db, this you can use over here. Okay, and here the description you can give something like just taste morning batch Hana demo, something like that, and just you can click on the save button, and you can configuration is inconsistent, save anyhow, package criteria must not finish. Okay, package I forgot to give, so let me give that j test. So here you can come in the ATC and you can schedule your solution. Again, I have done one mistake over here. Go to edit, and here my package name was ZMB test. Okay, ZMB test. Copy this one and I will paste it over here. Control V, save it, and no package adheres to criteria. Sorry, again it is wrong. ZMB test. I will manually type. Click on the save button, and this time there is no problem. Okay, and here you can see that uh, this option is there. You can click on the schedule button and you can schedule the time. Okay, you can schedule the time, like you can see the central check run, this is the series name, or if you want you can execute in background. Okay, and here you can maybe after processing, if you want to distribute the result in some spool or some in printer or such kind of things, if you want to do that, can be also, or some Fury apps if you want to associate that result, if you want that, you can do, but at this point of time it is not necessary, right? And here you can schedule, like you can start, you can click on this execute button and it will start executing. Schedule on single server, schedule on server group, right? Set to active result, central check run. So these are the different options. Let it be by default. Schedule on single server. If you have the server group, right? Suppose in case if you are having multiple server installed in your system, the server group will be created by the basis people, on which if you want to perform the test, that you can also do over there. So for example, if you want to check here how many server is here, so you can go to SM50 transaction. Okay, SM51 transaction actually. Okay, and you can see this is my server name, this is my server name. So from here you can find out what are the server it is, and on that particular server, if you want, you can schedule your run. Okay, so this is the server. And in case of you are having more server, so there is a transaction called rs12. Okay, you can come to this transaction and you can check what is the server group has been created. So rs12 is the transaction. You can come and click on this. Sorry, I have given some wrong transaction. /n rs, no, rz11, I think. Parameter name rz12, it seems. Yeah, rj12 with the transaction. And here you can see this is the server group, rfc server groups maintenance. So this is the server group. Here you can see the server group and which are the system integrated with that particular server group. So here one is parallel generators, another is 390, right? So these are the server group. In this server group, if you want to see what are the server associated with that, here you will see the list. So here only one server is there. Okay, here only one server is there. The current server is not anywhere in the server group, it is not a part of the server group. Okay, so directly you can give the server name over there. Okay, so schedule on a single server. So if you select this option, by default it will schedule on the current server. Click on the save button and you can give the variant name something like uh, mb test and test. Click on the save button, that's it. And variant, it got saved. Click on this OK button and it will start executing. So check run got scheduled and created on this last dated. You can see over here the changed on 9/5. And once it successfully get executed, you will be able to see the result. Okay, you will be able to see the result. So double click over here. So maybe this part I will tell you tomorrow, like how you can go ahead and you can check what is the findings over here. Okay, so with this, if you have any question, please let me know, or else today we will stop here itself, and tomorrow maybe we are going to most probably we are going to start the new open SQL over there. Okay, uh, after this part, new open SQL we can start, and we will see that what are the important techniques, important new syntax has been introduced after 7.40, that we can see in detail. So first 1 hour it will take some another basic concept, and then another second half maybe we can start with the open SQL, and we will go ahead and we will see. Okay, if you have any question, please feel free and ask any question if you have.
So Pankaj,
Any question?
for the
Mm-hmm.
second point, you're talking about the relational operators, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we saw an example with the quantity field. So
Mm-hmm.
if we have both, like, quantity field as well as, the amount field, both of them, then can
Mm-hmm.
we use, like, and
Mm-hmm.
greater than, and again use the sort by the second field?
Right. Yes, you can do, but the sorting should be there. Sorting should be there in the same sequence how it is over there. For example, you know, just let me show you. Come over here and we'll go to the program SC38. And here, for example, if we're going to sort it, uh, it's already open up here. Okay, so here if you want, you can put and over and some another quantity field. Let us suppose some quantity field ABCD, some quant ABC. There you can put something like this is greater than, and another you can put something like less than 100. So if we're going to put like this here also in order by in the same sequence, here NTGW is first there, and here QUA and ABC you will have to put it over here. Okay, this column is not there, that's why it is telling. So you got.
Yeah, and how to handle if we have like, greater than and equal to or less than and equal to?
You can simply give equal to over here, greater than or equal to, less than, or you can give like this,
Okay.
less than or equal to, or you have one also LE stands for less than or equal. Okay, or GE stands for greater than or equal. Okay, so you can use GE or you can use this operator.
Okay. So basically we can
Because
use the G, GT and all, but only we have to use the order. Is that right?
right. Yes. You
Oh,
just we have to give the order by, that's it. We have to
oh,
mention the order by over there.
okay, got it.
Okay, fine. Any other question? Fine. If you don't have any question, then what we can do, we can stop it over here and let's meet.
Pankaj,
Yeah.
even I had a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, like the code inspector which we did, it will be
Mm-hmm.
on HANA system, or it will be on like we are checking for
HANA system.
HANA readiness. So it should
Yeah.
be done before we move it to HANA system.
Right.
So
Yes.
are these checks available in like ECC system also?
Right. Yes. That will be there in the ECC system.
Okay. So native SQL and all will be we can check it in ECC system as well.
Right. So first, what you will have to do, that first you will have to migrate the code. Okay. First, you will have to migrate the code on the HANA server, and on HANA server, you will be having all these, like all these things you will have to perform on the HANA server itself. Okay. So though if you want, you can check there also. It will show you. You will be having the option of that performance underscore DB, and at both the places you can do. In fact, it is not like that. You cannot do here and there only you can do, or means at both the places you will be having this variant. This variant is the feature of NetWeaver. Okay, this is not the data specific feature. This is the feature of NetWeaver. So you will be able to see everywhere.
Okay.